This is Woody Shaw, American jazz trumpeter, flugelhornist, cornetist, composer, arranger, bandleader, and educator. Now, if you're looking for a trumpet player that's a product of the drum and bugle corps system, has been nominated twice for Grammy Awards, and is often credited with revolutionizing the technical and harmonic language of modern jazz trumpet playing, you came to the right place. This video will examine the life and music of Woody Shaw. Welcome back to my channel. Woody Herman Shaw Jr., born December 24th, 1944, died May 10th, 1989, was an American jazz trumpeter, flugelhornist, cornetist, composer, arranger, bandleader, and educator. Shaw is widely known as one of the 20th century's most important and influential jazz trumpeters and composers. He's often credited with revolutionizing the technical and harmonic language of modern jazz trumpet playing and is regarded by many as one of the major innovators of the instrument. He was an acclaimed virtuoso, mentor, and spokesperson for jazz and worked and recorded alongside many of the leading musicians of his time. Woody Shaw was born in Laurinburg, North Carolina. When Shaw was a year old, his parents, Rosalie and Woody Shaw Sr., took their son to Newark, New Jersey. Shaw's father was a member of the African-American gospel group, the Diamond Jubilee Singers. Both parents attended the same private school as Dizzy Gillespie, Laurinburg Institute. Shaw's mother and Gillespie were both from the same town in South Carolina. Shaw began playing the bugle when he was 9 years old and performed in the New York Junior Elks, Junior Mason, and Washington Carver Drum and Bugle Corps. Though not his first choice of instrument, he began studying classical trumpet at Cleveland Junior High School at the age of 11. In a 1978 interview, Shaw explained, "The trumpet was not my first choice as an instrument. In fact, I ended up playing it by default. When we were asked what we wanted to play in the 18th Avenue School Band, I chose the violin, but I was too late since all the violins had been taken. My second choice was the saxophone or the trombone, but they had all been spoken for. The only instrument they had left was the trumpet, and I felt, why did I have to be stuck with this tinny sounding thing? When I complained to my music teacher that I didn't think it was fair that all the other kids got to play the instruments they wanted, he told me to just be patient. He said he had a good feeling about me and the trumpet, and he assured me I'd grow to love it. Of course, my teacher was right, and it didn't take long for me to fall in love with the trumpet. In retrospect, I believe there was some mystical force that brought us together." His music teacher encouraged him to continue his study of classical trumpet playing and pursue an education at the Juilliard School of Music with trumpet instructor William Facciano. But Shaw had a deep interest in jazz. His first influences were Louis Armstrong and Harry James. After skipping 2 grades, he began attending the Newark Arts High School, the alma mater of Wayne Shorter, Sarah Vaughan, Larry Young, and many others, from which he graduated. As a teenager, Shaw worked professionally at weddings, dances, and nightclubs. He eventually left school but continued his study of the trumpet under the influence of Gillespie, Fats Navarro, Clifford Brown, Booker Little, Lee Morgan, and Freddie Hubbard. He later discovered that he had picked up the trumpet during the same month and year that Brown died, June 1956. In 1963, after many local professional jobs, Shaw worked with Willie Bobo and performed and recorded as a sideman for Eric Dolphy, with whom he made his recorded debut, Iron Man. Dolphy, who was living in Paris, unexpectedly died in June 1964. Shaw was nonetheless invited to Paris to join Dolphy's colleague, Nathan Davis, and the two men found steady work all over Europe. While living in Paris, they frequented the club Le Chat Qui Pêche, and Shaw crossed paths with musicians such as Bud Powell, Kenny Clarke, Johnny Griffin, Dexter Gordon, Art Taylor, and others. After some time, Shaw demanded that 2 of his contemporaries, organist Larry Young and drummer Billy Brooks, be relocated to Paris. The 4 young musicians, Davis, Shaw, Young, and Brooks, continued living and performing in France, intermittently touring cities in Europe, including Berlin, Germany. By the mid-1960s, Shaw had successfully absorbed the concepts and influences of his mentor and friend, saxophonist Dolphy, and was meanwhile exploring the harmonic innovations of saxophonist John Coltrane and pianist McCoy Tyner. Both musicians contributed greatly to the development of Shaw's style as a trumpet player and composer. Shaw returned to the U.S. from Paris in 1965 and began his career as one of the Blue Note label regular trumpet players, working steadily with the roster of artists. He replaced Carmel Jones in the Horace Silver Quintet from 1965 to 1966 and made his Blue Note debut on Silver's Cape's Verdine Blues. Followed by Larry Young's Unity in 1965, the album with Young featured three of his compositions, Zoltan, Moon Train, and Beyond All Limits. Moon Train, dedicated to Coltrane, was written when Shaw was 18 years old and was his earliest composition. Shaw also collaborated frequently and recorded with Korea between 1966 and 1969. Jackie McLean in 1967, Booker Ervin 1968, Tyner 1968, Andrew Hill 1969, Herbie Hancock, and Bobby Hutcherson. In 1968 and 1969, he worked intermittently with Max Roach, touring with him in Iran. Shaw also worked as a studio musician in pit orchestras and on Broadway musicals. In 1970, Shaw recorded his first album as a leader, Blackstone Legacy, for Contemporary Records. Blackstone Legacy featured Benny Maubin, Ron Carter, George Cables, Gary Bartz, Clint Houston, and Lenny White. This was followed by a second release under Shaw's name entitled Song of Songs. During this time, Shaw moved to San Francisco to explore new opportunities and became closely associated with musicians on the West Coast such as Bobby Hutcherson, Eddie Moore, Eddie Marshall, and Henry Franklin. In 1974, Shaw returned from California to New York, beginning an association with Muse Records, recording the albums The Moon Train, Love Dance, Little Red's Fantasy, and Iron Men, with musicians from the Midwestern creative black art scene such as Anthony Braxton, Arthur Blythe, and Muhal Richards Abrams. After releasing several albums for the Muse label, Shaw signed on with Columbia Records in 1977, following an endorsement from Miles Davis. He then recorded the albums Rosewood, Stepping Stones live at the Village Vanguard, Woody 3, For Sure, and United. Rosewood would be nominated for 2 Grammys and was voted Best Jazz Album of 1978 in the Downbeat Readers Poll, which also voted Shaw Best Jazz Trumpet Player of the Year and number 4 Jazz Musician of the Year. Throughout the 1980s, Shaw contributed performing and recording as a leader with sidemen such as pianists Ornetta Allen, Gums, Mulgrew Miller, and Larry White, bassist David Williams, drummer Terry Lynn Carrington, and trombonist Steve Turr, recording a number of more traditional but highly lyrical albums, Solid, Setting Standards, In My Own Sweet Way, consisting mainly of standards and tunes from the hard bop repertoire. During this period, he also worked on projects with saxophonist Benny Golson, Kenny Garrett, and Dexter Gordon, as well as fellow trumpeter Freddie Hubbard on 3 albums, Double Take and The Eternal Triangle, reissued on Blue Note as the Freddie Hubbard and Woody Shaw Sessions and Golson's Time Speaks. I hope you enjoyed this video on one of the 20th century's most important and influential jazz trumpeters and composers, Woody Shaw. Now, if you've got a band or musician you'd like featured on this YouTube channel, pop it in the comments section. I'll make another video. Thanks for dropping by. Rock on.